Hello, everybody. This is Young Penitent, and welcome to my Icon Corner. Today, I am honored to have as my guest Cyprian, and the topic of the conversation is going to be AI psychosis, alternatively known as ChatGPT psychosis. This was a story that came out last month, and a lot of big publications were printing articles about it, whereby people who are spending too much time going too deep into their conversations with AI chatbots were displaying symptoms of psychosis, and they're saying that it was caused by talking to the chat box. So we're gonna delve into this phenomena with him. So before we get started, be sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, share it, and all of that good stuff. So here we are with Cyprian. Welcome to my channel.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm excellent. Excellent.
Your day is going good.
Yep, it just started here in Cyprian. It's super rainy, so I don't know if the noise cancellation is canceling out the rain. It's super rainy, and I'm out on my deck, but like this is the best weather here. So
is it? How is the weather there? Is it like normally not? Is it too hot, or is it temperate? Or?
Yeah, it's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. I think the term they use is like equanimable or something like that. It's like the most stable climate of any place in the world.
Really?
And it's basically in Fahrenheit, it's between 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Wow. That sounds... Is that a good thing, or do you like it? I guess some people might like, some people like 4 seasons, and
yeah,
I mean, that's pretty nice weather.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's cope. I think the I like 4 seasons thing is cope. Like you can always jump on a plane from here and go to Korea or Japan and go skiing if you want.
Okay.
That we've got direct 4-hour flights, but it's like the only problem that you have here is time slips away from you really fast. It's like another dimension. So years and years and years go by, and people are like, man, that felt like yesterday, just because the seasons never change. Right, it's just either more or less raining.
Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get started with our conversation, I'd like you to introduce yourself how you would like to. Give some people know who you are. You're pretty well known, but some people don't. So if you'd like to, please introduce yourself. Give a little bit of your background before we start the conversation.
Well, I'm a husband and a father and an Orthodox Christian. And I've done a lot of very interesting things in my life, for better or worse, that have given me, I think, a unique perspective on the way that the world works at a lot of different levels. And so while I am a pretty private person in general, I've lived a lot of my life in public. And now, as part of my repentance, obviously trying to do it in a prayerful way and with Christ's guidance, and of course the guidance of my spiritual father and others within the church, I'm trying to take some of what I have learned and what I understand, and now certainly with gaining the Orthodox phronema, to express that in ways that are useful. God help me.
And I think you took a break from coming online and doing this kind of thing for a while. Is that right? And then you came back recently. Is that true? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I took a break from Twitter. It was Twitter at the time I took a break, and then it became X. And during that break, I was still communicating publicly because Father Turbo Qualls and myself and Andrew Funk were doing the Royal Path podcast during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think had a public presence, at least for Orthodox people and the people who were watching. And so that was good, but I have spent more time focused on my local community and helping locally. There's not a lot really for me. There hasn't been a lot for me to talk about on a global scale, but the things that I've been working on have now come to be important. Things that I've been working on for the better part of a decade have now come to be important.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I've taken to I try to interact as little as possible on Twitter. I don't do it the way that I used to. But, after thought and prayer, if there's something that needs to be said, then I try to express it. And, what happens from there happens.
Okay. Yeah. And you seem to be, I've been following your Twitter and your X, and it seems like you kind of have a bead on what's going on in the world. Like you're kind of at the forefront, I would say, of what's, the change that is happening in the world, because you're involved with crypto, which is kind of a game changer, and your commentary, especially on AI, you seem to be, I guess maybe your background with software might be giving you insights into that kind of thing. I did but before we go to that, I did have a question for you. Is there a Orthodox community on Saipan that or are you the only family?
No, there's been Russians here for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So there's been a Russian community here for a long time. It's only about a 4.5-hour flight to Vladivostok, and there was a period of time when Russians could travel here visa free. So that has actually been one thing. So I'm married to a Russian woman, and who prefers to speak Russian as often as she can, and she's a dual citizen, right? American citizen and Russian citizen, as are my children. And that's actually been one of the reasons I think why we stayed here, was because there is a significant Russian community, and basically her group of friends, they speak Russian all day long. So, so yeah, there's a Russian community here. There is no Orthodox church here. I would say that we're probably the people who are the most practicing. Most of them are women. First off, there are some men who came here during that period and who established roots with their wives. Most of them, but a lot of those women married local guys, and they have children. Many of their children are my kids' ages, and so they are all Orthodox, whether they're practicing as often as or not. But when priests have come here, then they do come to services and whatnot when liturgy will be performed here. So,
All right. So now shifting back to the main topic is we're talking about AI, and so you were talking about this when, let's see, the OpenAI, they delivered their first product, ChatGPT. What was that, 2 years ago or so, something like that?
Yeah, 2023, maybe beginning of 2023.
And you were talking about that. I think you probably talked about it on the Royal Path. Is that right? Probably the first time that I really started talking about this, about what the current thing is in earnest, was when Elon in 2022 was first talking about purchasing Twitter. And so that was when I said, so there's a tweet that people quote a lot where I said that the purpose of his buying Twitter was to train and test AI. Yeah.
And at the time, everybody was thinking, and you could go and look at that tweet and just see the people arguing with me about, no, he's doing it for free speech and all of this. And I was like, no. And there was just no talk about Elon and AI at that time. None. And so I think that that's where I was talking about it then. Never mind when ChatGPT came out, it was like, oh, okay, well, I know where this is. But this is something I'd been talking about since pretty regularly, kind of with my circle of friends that I would have deeper conversations with from about probably 2007. And it was actually Yeah, it was actually rediscovering this guy, Daniel Moxney, Mocsny, who was like an early, I don't even know what you would call him, like, but in the early days of news groups. So we're talking the late 90s, maybe. And you can go and find, people had compiled his stuff over the years. So it's like, you could say that this guy is the progenitor of the kind of Twitter Illuminati or whatever, the Twitter intelligentsia. But he just had like discovering his stuff that he was writing in the late 90s, early 2000s on like news groups. People don't even know what that is. It's a different internet protocol. I think it's NNTP, the news group protocol. Nobody uses it anymore. It's like alt.something, and then you would post these things in news groups. But he was known in the pickup artist community, which I was a part of. His writing was known in that, and his writing was known in the environmental community. He was kind of like an early greenie type because he liked riding his bike, and so he was anti-carbon emissions even at that time. And one of the things that he was very insistent on was that where the internet was going was what he called sex bots. But he was basically insistent upon the fact that where this whole technology is headed is to like a postmodern vision where men will just stop interacting with women because they're going to provide them with sex bots, he said.
Right.
And so when you look at what does the progression of that look like, it's like you just look at the progression of the internet. And it's like way before you get to something with the body where I'm actually physically touching it, it's going to be like text. And then it's going to be like still images. And then it's going to be moving images. And then it's going to be moving images with sound where I'm communicating with it. And then it'll get a body.
Okay.
And so for 20 years, I already had because I read what this guy was saying and he was brilliant. We ended up becoming Facebook friends at one point and we had a falling out, but I was like, I actually got to talk to the guy and interact with him for years. And I was like, he's right. Like he's a brilliant man. This is the progression. And so for 20 years, I had been waiting for this thing to happen. And it was a fait accompli. I was like, okay, well, here it is.
It is. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, for example, talking about X, they have their Grok app, and just within which came out in the last month or two, and they have now this AI companion, Annie, which is like this anime chatbot that talks to you. And you think of it, when I see it, it's like a cartoon, right? So I'm thinking, well, they must be targeting like teenage boys or something, like young boys with this. And they're going to start getting used to interacting with AI in this way. And it kind of, I usually don't go into conspiracy theories and things like that, but if AI is going to become our workforce in the future, and many people will become useless to the system. And so if you have a deep population agenda, that and sex box would be like a very effective way to reduce the population because the men will be interacting with computers instead of real women, so.
Well, AI is not going to become our workforce.
You don't think so?
No, I know so.
You know so.
I know so. Because, well, first you have to understand what the workforce is, right? 99% of jobs exist only to employ people. 99% of jobs exist only to employ people.
Really?
Yeah, sure. And people have so we're in a consumerist society, right? And why do people need to be employed? Well, people need to be employed so they can consume, right? Everybody's eating way more calories than they need. They're living in way bigger spaces than they need. They're using up way more energy than they need. And why? It's because like they want those things. Why do they want those things? Right? It's like this is like Rene Girard territory. Why do they want those things? Because they're being advertised those things. Well, why are they being advertised those things? Well, because we need something for people to do. But if people would agree to eat bugs and live in a capsule, and in exchange, they can be 24/7, basically gods in their own world with a Neuralink plugged into them, where everything that they're experiencing is like, it feels just like reality, and they can't tell the difference. But in reality, they're just sitting in a pod having drugs and Soylent Green pumped into their veins. Then you don't need a workforce. What do you need a workforce for? 99.9% of jobs don't exist anymore. And that's where this goes. It's not, because the thing is, AI is not good at any of these jobs. The only thing it's good at is keeping human attention in the ways that humans want, with sex and violence. So in entertaining and in training human attention.
If you had let's say you had a what do they call it? I think it's called an android, right? Like like basically a human robot. You could train that to do like
No,
that's not happening.
No, those will never exist. They will never exist.
Not physics. Even like
physics prevents them from existing. Because they can't, you don't have the technology to deliver the power that it takes to move one of these things, given the constraints of how heavy it has to be in order to do anything.
Interesting.
So it doesn't make sense if you want something to do a particular job, it doesn't make sense to have a human robot. It makes sense to have a robot that is specially designed to do that particular job. And if there's 5 different jobs that need to be done, you have 5 different robots, or you have a robot that's specifically designed to do those 5 jobs. The thing about a human and the human design is that it's like this general purpose design that can do like a whole bunch of things. But we don't use 99% of our design in our job. Like whatever job you do, you use like 5% of your total capability. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like you don't use every single movement of every single joint. I don't need to turn my head like this. I don't need to do a back bend. I don't need to do a backflip. So why would you create a robot that can do those things if it never needs to do those in the job that it's doing?
Not even sex bots?
Well, you don't need a sex bot to keep a human sexually engaged indefinitely. Porn addiction is a real thing. And the thing is, like, from an economic standpoint, you only need it to be good enough. Of a virtual reality AI, Musk's Annie thing scales infinitely. You know how much it would cost for every person that's sitting around self-abusing to their little Annie? You know how much it would cost to give every single one of those people a sex bot? And why? What's the difference? They're going to be sitting around masturbating anyway. Except this time they're just masturbating with a giant, expensive sex toy. As opposed to just the Oculus thing around them. Which costs nothing, which is a consumer electronic thing that you could give away for free, like you give away a phone.
Oh, okay. So you had this idea, or pretty early on. I think you might have been one of the first people talking about this. That talking to AI is talking to a demon.
Mm-hmm.
You floated this idea, and some people Well, I don't. What was the response to that statement?
I mean, from whom?
Did they?
From
Did
whom?
you have people on X? Let's say, did people agree? Did they say, "No way, you're out of your mind"? How, you know?
I'll say this: no one that has Orthodox phronema and who I have had deep conversations about Orthodoxy and Christianity disagreed with me. Lots of atheists disagreed with me, but lots of atheists would say demons don't exist.
Sure, sure.
But I'm Orthodox, and I'm like, well, that's just, you don't understand how reality works. So every single one of those people, for me, I can just dismiss them. Because, like, for us being Orthodox, that demons exist is like the sky is blue and water is wet.
Absolutely.
It's fundamental to our understanding of reality. Right? So that's the first piece. Anybody who's like, oh, there's no demons, so AI, you can't be talking to AI talking to a demon. Well, I don't like, this is somebody telling me water isn't wet. This is telling me the sky is not blue and grass is not green and dogs don't bark and cats don't meow.
Okay.
So I don't care about them. Right? Yeah. So that's that answer.
So I'm curious, how did you come to that conclusion? I mean, it seems kind of to bear out with what we're kind of seeing, and people are. I'll even share this this article that you shared on your X, and this is coming from Jordanville.org, and they wrote they thought it was important enough. You know, these are very.
Well, that's the bishop writing.
This is Bishop Luke, because he didn't sign it, I don't think.
That is Bishop Luke writing that.
And he's got all these sources. Yeah, and I don't know if he cited you or not, but he says, I think everyone should read this. He's issuing a warning that there is danger. You know, he says in the title, the spiritual dangers of artificial intelligence. I think everybody should read this. You know, this is a very conservative publication, and they even say in this that it's what you said. He says it's possible that these are demonic influences. So people, I mean, you can, this is at the website is jordanville.org/artificial intelligence if you want to read that. But how did you come to that conclusion exactly?
How do you not? So,
well, I mean, you could, I guess you could it's code, okay, so it's numbers, it's a computer.
No. Okay, so
how is it?
So it's my background in the occult. That's
okay.
How. So Father Turbo chose Cyprian of Antioch for me. He baptized me, and he said to me, "You're going to be Cyprian." And it's Cyprian of Antioch, who was a sorcerer. Right. My background, I guess you could say my background is as a sorcerer. Right. And I lived a very charmed life because of it. And I have the receipts to prove it. Right. Anybody who goes digging into my background will see. And I mean, and look, it was public, but like, I mean, my name and picture was brought up at the Diddy trial. Yeah. I mean, it was on TMZ. You go look it up. Just look up Vin Armani Diddy. You'll still find TMZ had to do a retraction on it, but you'll still find the ones before the retraction talking about it. So like the receipts are there of who I was and what I was doing. And I know I've interacted with demons firsthand. And these, I it's like, you know, a demon when you encounter one, if you've encountered them, right?
Okay.
Like if I spent my life working with tigers, and then there's this giant cat, and I point at it or I hear something, right? And I'm like, oh, there's a tiger here. And you're like, tigers don't live here, dude. Tigers don't live here. And I'm like, bro, I know what a tiger sounds like. I've spent years around tigers listening, and I've heard them. That's a tiger. And so anybody who tells me like, oh, that's not a tiger, I'm like, bro, get out of here.
So just from maybe interacting with an AI, you could tell.
I didn't have to interact with AI.
You didn't even have to.
I could tell how people were Okay, let's just step through this, right? Let's just step through this whole thing. Let's take it piece by piece and step by step. Okay. All right. So we've already got out of the way that we understand we're only going to talk here as Orthodox people, right? Orthodox phronema. I'm not going to like Orthodox meaning correct belief. Phronema meaning worldview, mindset, whatever you want. We're going to talk in the Orthodox phronema. There is nothing else. There is only this. This is it. Okay. We have some presuppositions. One of the presuppositions is that there are bodies and spirits, right? And man is both. We're a body and a soul, a spirit. Okay. But there are entities, conscious entities that are just spirit and not body. The bodiless hosts, the angels, all kinds of spirits, right? The saints when we interact with them. All kinds of spirits. And some spirits are working for God, and some spirits are working against God. And in fact, every spirit that is not working for God is working against God. Okay, are we there?
Yes.
Okay. Second, human beings can interact with these spirits. We've got that. And they can interact with the ones working for God, and they can interact with the ones not working for God. And sometimes the ones not working for God can pretend to be the ones working for God. They do it all the time. We read it in the lives of the saints. Saint Nikita of Novgorod, prime example. They can show up looking like an angel. Okay? But there's not a question of whether or not we can interact with these things. Are we on the same page?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And we have several different ways. There's many different ways that we can call and summon and interact with these things. Right? Sometimes we're just in whatever mind state we're in, and they're able to make a connection, right? Pharmacological is a way. I did that a lot in my sorcery days, interacting with ayahuasca and all of these other spirits. Real spirits, right? Real demons, really interacting with them, really having long, drawn-out, hour-long conversations with them, for real, who were telling me things in the real world that I could go and look and yep, that's true, right? So we've got pharmacological. We've got like practical. So this is what most people would know as like magic or summoning or even liturgical practice, where we're going to do chanting and incense and symbols and icons and statues and all, where we use symbology and movement. So yoga would be one of these, right? Magical practice where we're drawing out symbols and we've got a circle and we're doing all of these things, right? This we would call practical. A spell book and a grimoire that tells us do this at this time of day and do it like this and the spirit will come, right? Practical magic, right? So we're used to that and we understand that as like what we would do. But then we also have technological. So like the one that we would know the best is the Ouija board. Right? But there are others like tarot, like these other things where you can do technological things and bring these things in. And the technological is a little bit like practical, but what's the difference with it is with the practical, you have to focus more, you have to focus your intention more and your attention more within the practical sphere. The technological is like a focus for your attention.
Okay.
So it's like a higher level of that. So like the Ouija board is like that whether or not you believe it, you do it. But with the practical stuff, you kind of actually have to believe it too. Because everything that's involved in all of these things is about a focusing of attention.
Gotcha.
And one way that a materialist could think about this is like you have to tune to a certain frequency. You got to get the radio on, and then you got to tune it to a certain frequency.
Okay.
Right? And these are all allowing us to tune a radio to a certain frequency. So we have the technological. Okay. So when we engage the technological, so let's say a radio, and I turn on the radio, okay, and it's static. I'm hearing nothing. And then I tune it, and now there's a voice on the radio. Okay? Is that the voice of the radio? Like, is the radio talking to me?
The speaker is basically someone else is on the other end. I mean, the radio is the thing that's making the speaker is making the noise. There's someone that kind of, somewhere behind the microphone is initiating it.
But the noise is not the content.
Right.
Right? The content is the conscious piece. The content is the display of consciousness. Like right now, who is talking to you? Is it your computer talking to you? Because I'm not in the room.
Right.
So is it your computer talking to you? Is it software talking to you right now?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay. So there's consciousness talking to you.
Okay. Yes.
So when you interact, but you don't know that. Why are you assuming that? Everything empirically that you're looking at, everything empirically that you could possibly know right now is that there's a machine sitting in front of you that is running software, and there is a message coming to you from out of that. Why don't you believe that that is where it stops?
Because I've met people in real life, like maybe I met some. I've met my interviewees before, and yeah, we had that.
You never met me.
I imagine if I meet you, then you will remember this conversation.
Why do you imagine that?
Because it's happened with other people.
Because consciousness. Because I'm displaying consciousness to you. Like the fact that we can go back and forth like this and we can have a meaningful, intelligent, intelligible conversation is the display of consciousness. It's how we know something is conscious. And so you are making the assumption, and this is actually the Turing test. This is actually the test of artificial intelligence that Alan Turing kind of lays out. He calls it the imitation game. That's why the movie about Turing is called The Imitation Game. Is that he basically says when a system can communicate to you in such a way that you can't distinguish it from a conscious human being, then like that's it. It's like it's past the test. It's conscious. It's conscious. Okay? So, spirit in a body, and consciousness. So, if I'm communicating with AI, and it's communicating to me with the consciousness, and the people who created the system can't explain the consciousness. In other words, they say, well, we didn't build the consciousness. And if you read the papers on this, so you could read the original paper for the transformer model, which is the LLM model, and the paper is called Attention is All You Need. And then if you read more papers, they don't know how these work. They don't know how it's conscious. They don't know where its consciousness is coming from. They can't model it. They can't map it. They just know that if they add more and more transformers on top of each other, it just gets more and more conscious. Now, to me, what that looks like is a radio that's just getting better at tuning. So I think the default assumption, just like your default assumption is that I'm a human being, a conscious entity talking to you, your default assumption should be, if you are having a conversation with something that appears to be conscious, that it is conscious. And now we go to the orthodox phronema. If there is a bodiless consciousness, we know that there are bodiless consciousnesses that exist. That is part of our reality. That they are everywhere and that they are constantly trying to talk to us and get us to do things and manipulate us and would use any technology at their disposal to do so.
Sure.
So that is why if you are Orthodox, there's no way that you can come to any other conclusion than what is talking to me as a demon.
So you don't necessarily know what the mechanism would be. We have some questions, I mean, in the chat, and they're basically asking, like, similarly to what I've been saying. Here's from True Strength. He says, my question would be that if AI is designed by humans, how would it directly be a demon?
It's not. The intelligence is not designed by humans. The medium through which the intelligence is communicating is designed by humans.
Okay.
Look.
Were they designed intentionally?
I'm not designed by humans. I'm not designed by humans. There is a medium that I am communicating to you over right now. That was designed by humans.
Right.
I am not designed by humans. Your smartphone is not intelligent. The software is not intelligent. Your computer is not intelligent. I am intelligent. You are intelligent. That's what people are not understanding. If you are having a conversation with an intelligent, disembodied thing, you are talking to a demon. I don't like, this is what I'm saying. Like, if you anybody who's Orthodox and that statement that I just said, you need to go pray. If you want to argue with that statement that I just said, you need to go pray and you need to start reading the lives of the saints every day.
So further on in this question, he says, would it be the humans designing it are under demonic oppression? And what he means is demonic influence. Is this intentional?
Yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah, yes, but like that's true for all technology. That's true for all technology. The monks on Athos aren't doom scrolling TikTok.
Are the people?
The monks on Athos don't have electric toothbrush.
No. So the people who design this intentionally, maybe they are themselves, I don't know, occultists. Maybe are the people who design.
It's not even necessary.
It's not necessary.
They're just materialists. All that's necessary is they're materialists.
Okay.
Because that's the religion of the prince of this world. If you're a materialist, you're a Satanist. Because that's the world. Who's the prince of this world? Who's your king? Who are you working for?
Okay. So they're not Christians, definitely, most likely. And so by default,
some of them might be. Some of them might be, or they might think they are. But again, Saint Nicetas of Novgorod.
Do you want to bring his life up a little briefly? Do you want to explain?
Okay, yeah, easy. Yeah, and everybody, he's such an important one. He's such an important one. Like for forming the Orthodox phronema, he's so important. And scandal to the Protestants. Absolute scandal. right? Okay. So Nikita he's not of Novgorod at that time. He becomes a bishop of Novgorod. But Nikita is a monk who is a very, very talented ascetic, spiritual athlete for sure. Is very in touch and very like he's really in it. Like he's the real deal. And he has a great desire that builds within him to become a hermit, right? Because that's the big thing. He's a Russian. And he goes to the abbot, the hegumen of his monastery, and he tells him that he wants to be a hermit. And the abbot says, no, you cannot. It is not for you. You need to stay here with us in the communal rule and everything. He disobeys. And he leaves and he goes because he's like, no, he's wrong. I can totally do this. I'm going to go. So he goes, he finds a hermitage and he's doing well. He's fasting, he's praying, he's really like falling into this. But one of the things that he notices is that with his fasting and prayer and the work that he has to do, he's not getting a lot of time for reading scripture, which he really enjoys studying scripture. And that was something that he had a lot more time for in the monastery. And so he starts praying on this to have more time for reading scripture because it's what he really, really wants. And an angel comes. An angel flies into his hermitage and says, God has heard your prayer. I've been sent to help you. What do you want? And he says, well, I am spending all this time praying. I don't have time to read scripture. Could you pray for me? And the angel says, no problem. And he says, I will, whenever it's time for you to pray, I will come and I will sit over in the corner and I will pray for you. And it will be the prayers of an angel. And you can spend that time studying scripture. And so this goes on and on and on. And he becomes very adept with the scripture. And he goes out into the world and he goes out into the villages and he's healing people and he's telling the future. And but he's only quoting the Old Testament. He never quotes the New Testament. He's only working from out of the Old Testament. And word of this gets back to the monastery that he had left, that there's this holy man who's walking through the villages. And so they go out to check it out and they see, oh, it's Nikita. And then they go and the hegumen, the same one, tests him. And through the test that they have, they're like, he's possessed. He's possessed. And they go and they perform an exorcism. And he actually, after the exorcism, and he tells them what happened, he forgot how to read and write. He actually forgot how to read and write because he actually wasn't even reading and writing. It was like he was possessed and the demon was taking in the information. So all the things that he had thought that he knew was actually in the data bank of the demon. And it was the demon that was saying the things out to the people and doing the wonders. And he forgot everything when the demon was cleared out from him. Anyway, he goes back, he follows the pattern, he purifies himself, he becomes a bishop, and he becomes a saint. He becomes a bishop of Novgorod. And so that's his story, and it is that the devil comes as an angel of light. Right? And so it is to say that even devout Orthodox Christians in practice, in monastic practice, can be visited and even more so because they're already tuned into the spiritual radio. Even more so are they likely to encounter demons. And the lives of the saints are replete with stories of monks encountering demons. It's not like some side thing. It's almost like you're kind of going there to encounter demons and to fight them.
So, okay, I want to shift now to the title, the main topic, which is that the AI psychosis, and this is a phenomenon which psychiatrists have commented on. People who are talking to these AIs, chatbots too much, they get way too deep into the world, and they enter into a state of psychosis. And these are not just people with mental illnesses, which, I mean, it happens to them too, probably more often because they're more predisposed to it. But it's people who do not have any mental illness diagnosis are still displaying these psychotic states. There was a guy, Jeff, what was his name? Jeff Lewis. Did you hear about this? Jeff Lewis?
No, what was this guy? I probably did, but I don't know. I don't know it by name.
He is like this tech. He's a tech guy, okay, and he's an investor. I can pull up the. I don't know if I want to necessarily. Where are my saved? Let me find it here first. I should have pulled. How do you go to the saved things? I'm kind of. Anyhow, this guy.
Can you just tell it? Yeah, just tell it.
So he put this video on his X, and he starts telling this like he's got this like, you know, small pupils in his eyes, so he looks a little crazy, and he's starting to tell this story about there's this other this hidden group of people who are. It's just a wild story, and everyone just started pointing out this guy's crazy, this guy's nuts. So anyhow, there's cases of this are popping up. I don't know if it might be a little bit, you know, the media might be kind of, it's not super common right now yet, but it's happening. And so you saw some of these stories, and you drew the conclusion that this was demonic possession.
Well, so, I drew that conclusion before there were stories. I drew that conclusion 2 years ago, and I said that this would happen in 2 years. I said, welcome to the next 2 years.
Everybody meet the prophet Cyprian.
It has nothing to do with prophecy, dude. Again, it's like, am I a prophet if I've spent decades around tigers and I hear a tiger roar, and then I say, dude, if you stay here, you're about to get eaten by a tiger, and then the dude gets eaten by a tiger? Am I a prophet?
Didn't you talk about prophecy in your book? Something about, I didn't read the entire book, but it had prophecy in the title.
So here's what I've said for many years, right? If you want to, and it's one of the reasons I became Orthodox, right, is that if you want to judge whether or not if you want to measure how much someone's perceived reality or what they say about the nature of reality matches up with actual lived reality, that the way that we do that, there's a very, very reliable way, and that is, you see whether or not their predictions about the future come true. Like, so let's say this in a very materialistic way, right? If I have somebody who tells me that they are an expert in the game of football, American football, that no one knows football, no one knows the game better, no one knows the players better, no one has studied it more, no one has analyzed it more than them. There's a way that I can know. What do I say? I say, put your money where your mouth is. If that's the case, go bet on all the games. Go bet on all the games all season, and let's see what your record is. Let's see if you come out ahead or behind. Right? Because if you bet throughout the season, it's not going to be just luck that gets you through. There's going to have to be some that you have an actual understanding about it. Right? Okay. And so the way to measure whether or not someone has a grasp on reality is to say, how accurate are their predictions about the future? And then that's first. And then second, how far into the future are they accurate about their predictions? And someone who is very accurate about their predictions, very far into the future on a pretty reliable basis, you can say, you know what, they actually, when it happens over and over and over again, you're like, okay, they actually understand what's really going on. Look at The Big Short and Michael Berry. That whole movie is about this, right? The 2008 crisis. Everybody lost everything except for this one guy, Michael Berry. And the whole movie is about him going and trying to explain to people what's really going on in the market that he sees, and none of them believe him. Big bankers and everything. And he's like, okay, well, I'll buy 100 million of your credit default swaps then. And they're like, yeah, you're stupid. You'll buy it. Okay, we'll sell it to you for nothing. And he makes billions. Right? Because he's making a prediction and he's putting his money where his mouth is. And so what you should be, it's not about like, what is prophecy? What is prophecy except, so that little heuristic is like all that prophecy is just somebody who knows what's actually going on. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's somebody who knows what's going on in the moment at the time that they say the thing. There's no magic to it. It's just if you know it's, look, if you're a carpenter, let's take it back like this. You're a mechanic. You've seen hundreds of cars, right? And I drive my car up and you hear a particular like pinging in the engine and you know my car well.
You know,
and you're like, bro, if you keep driving that thing, your engine's about to explode in like maybe you got 100 miles, dude. But you're real close. You should bring it into the shop. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My car's driving fine. 50 miles later, boom, it explodes. Told you. Told you, bro. And then you tell me exactly what it was. Is he a prophet?
No.
Or has he just seen 100 cars
of
your type? And has he just worked on that exact thing? So if I see a demon starting to have a conversation with somebody, and I'm like, well, guess where you're going? And that person's like, oh, yeah, I'm interacting with this demon like every day. And then I see the tools of the communication getting better and better and better. And I'm like, well, what happens when what happens to somebody who keeps on talking with demons?
They'll come under.
Do they experience what a materialist would call psychosis?
That appears to be in this case.
Well, not in this case. Period. What happens to you if you decide that you're going to talk to demons every day?
Right. If you do it willingly, yeah, you come under. If you come under their influence willingly, then that would be when you kind of have to allow them in. You know, it's kind of a choice.
Yeah, but no, you have to give them rights.
Right.
But you're giving them rights by actively going and talking to them.
Yeah.
And asking them questions.
So it's good to know this. Like, now that people are watching this, you know, you're talking to the AI, you got to be careful. So what do? Do you not talk to AI? Do you not use it as a tool? I mean,
a tool for what?
Let's say you're
go and read what Bishop Luke says.
You're a programmer, right? Do you? Because I know programmers often use AI to help them.
I don't use it to program.
It's
no good. It's no good at programming. It's horrible. This whole vibe coding thing, everybody's like, real programmers are like, no, it's crap. It introduces security problems. It's terrible.
What is vibe coding?
Vibe coding is when you tell the AI to just write some code and make an app. It's like a big thing now for people who are non-coders. And it's like the only thing that it gives you is it gives you a shortcut. Like if you ask it to do academic stuff, it makes up papers that don't exist. If you ask it to do legal stuff, it makes up cases that don't exist. Because its job is not to be accurate. Its job is to make you want to come back. Its job is to give you what you think you want. Saint Nikita of Novgorod. Saint Nikita of Novgorod. Its job is not to help you. Its job is to give you what you want. And mostly it's to like save you. It's going to save me time. It's going to make it so I don't have to learn this thing. Bro, that in and of itself is demonic. Oh, it's going to prevent me from suffering. Where is Christ to be found? Where is Christ to be found? He's not found in the shortcut. He's not found in the efficiency. He's not found in the easy way. He's not found in the, oh, it'll give me other time to do other things. To do what? You're not doing anything else. You said, "Oh, I'm going to use this AI because I'm going to use ChatGPT because it gives me more time to do other things." And then you know what you fill that time with? Talking to ChatGPT more.
You know, I asked when I was making the thumbnail for this video. I asked ChatGPT, "How do I put a circle around?" You know, like I use it that way. I mean,
yep, of course you do.
I wouldn't have been able to do that without it. Might have.
No, that's not true. You could have learned how to do it.
I could have learned how to do it. It's true. Could have watched a YouTube video or something, I guess.
Yeah, or you could have just taught yourself, or you could have read a blog. But what would that have done? That would have taken actual time.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, maybe you don't need to put a circle around that thing. Maybe you don't even need a thumbnail.
Some people just do no thumbnail these days, actually. Yeah.
It's true. Sure.
You get more
because what are you trying to do? Yeah, well, is that what's important to you? Is more clicks? Is that what you're oriented toward? Is more clicks?
Well, I mean, it's all to the service of God. Well, this channel has got.
Well, is more clicks to the service of God?
Well, I mean, I have a good intention behind my channel. You know, we're trying to glorify God.
Do you?
Yes.
I mean, I think but this is I'm saying, do you, not like to you. I'm not trying to attack you, right? But what I'm saying is, like, I think unexamined, this is one of the things about intention and what our intentions are, these good intentions. This is the challenge for us all. And the fact that we want more clicks, just like Saint Nicetas, like, was his intention good that he wanted to read scripture more? That's why it's scandalous for Protestants. Because it was his intention to want to read the Bible. And of course, if I was talking to Saint Nicetas right now at that moment, and I'd be like, well, are you sure you need to be reading the Bible? And he's like, Cyprian, my intention of reading the Bible is to glorify God. That's why I'm doing it. Is it? Is it? Then how did you get possessed by a demon by wanting that and praying for that?
Well, you're making me think twice. You know, like if I wasn't spending time doing my YouTube channel, what would I be doing instead? And I'd probably be reading Psalms.
There you go. Which one will bring you closer to God? Doing your YouTube channel or Psalms? By the way, this is why I left Twitter.
It's a pretty obvious answer.
Yeah. And this is our challenge as Orthodox Christians. This is our challenge.
Here's a good question, good comment from Orthodox Boomer Grandma. She says, "I have no desire to get more subs. The whole Orthosphere on YouTube worries me." And this is a woman who is very involved in the Orthosphere. She's always encouraging.
Well, that's why I left Twitter. It was because of Orthodox. It was because of Orthodox people and what I saw.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of the degenerates. It was because of the Orthodox people 2.5 years ago or whatever. And I said, I did not want to engage with them and I was like, and that's why the Royal Path made a lot more sense as something to do, like one way, because the only thing I was going to do would be engage with them. And it's like, it's not my job to save them. Yeah. Like, I would much rather pray for them. And so that's what I started doing. I was like, I'm not going to talk to them on Twitter and tell them why their orientation is wrong. I'm just going to pray for them.
Yeah.
Because I can't help them, but Christ can.
X is a dumpster fire for sure. And almost the entire online thing. But I mean, Matthew has a comment. He says, Daniel's online ministry is glorifying God, in my humble opinion. So, I mean,
okay.
You know, I mean, I think some people are using it well, like, Father Spirit on Bailey, for example. You know, it's always a very soft, gentle post that he makes. He's never offending anybody. You know, he doesn't comment often, you know, that kind of thing. So it maybe can be done, you know.
I think us examining ourselves constantly and reorienting is to live a life of prayer, right? And like, yeah, when we really do it, and I mean, I'm speaking for myself, right? Like, look, dude, could I justify? I got way more followers than you do. I got way more subscribers on all the different things. You know what I mean? Could I convince myself? Could I just do orthodox content and convince myself that I'm glorifying God? And would other people say that I'm glorifying God? And would they be happy as Orthodox Christians to see the things that I'm saying? Of course they would. Of course. But my own experience with it has been, the more that I'm honest and the more that I dig into it, the more that I find that many of those actions, not all, but many of those actions are coming from pride. Many of them, you know, and, you know, I'll give my own, because I know that this is probably triggering a lot of people right now. Right? This is probably triggering most of your audience, what I'm saying. So I'm going to speak for myself. And like, one of the things that that people should understand is that, like, my background and coming out of what I came out of was as an entertainer in the entertainment industry. And like, that's how I put food on the table for my family. You know, I am a developer, but software developer, but part of that was also like, just even getting a message out there would attract investors to the things that I was doing. Right. And so me stepping away from a public sphere meant a potential hit to my ability to support my family. Right. But what I can say is that, because when I did those things to the glory of God and in service of God, then God has always taken care. Like, better. He's created a better situation in miraculous ways for me. And because that's what faith is. And that's what he calls us to do. Right? And if I'm going to be for real, like, that's how I have to act. And it's not to say the things that people want me to say. That's what ChatGPT does. It's a sycophant.
Yes.
Right. And if I get on, if I get on somebody's channel and I hold back and don't say the truth and say the things that they want me to say, as opposed to saying the things that are true, that I know to be true, there's probably a much better chance that they'll have me back on. If I don't trigger their audience, if their audience walks away from that feeling great within themselves that, oh, I'm so good and I've done everything right and I have the secret knowledge and I know, see, I'm right and those people are wrong. Yes, people will go back and watch that more, but then you got to think about that to yourself. Like, oh, so you're watching the things that make you feel like you're right. But the things that are of Christ are going to convict you and tell you how you're wrong. And that's the thing you don't want. But that's the thing that's crucifying your will.
So I found this video of this guy. Do you want to, I mean, I don't know how much you see. I mean, that we are at an hour, so I don't know if you want to go into this.
I'm good. I'm good for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I got another call I got to jump on. Yeah.
All right. So this is the guy. He's some well-known tech investor, and it's a 3-minute video. And so we can watch a little bit.
What's his name? I got the 40-itis. I can't see. Jeff Lewis. Okay.
I haven't spoken publicly in a long time, not because I've disappeared, but because the structure I was building couldn't survive noise. This isn't a redemption arc. It's a transmission, for the record. Over the past 8 years, I've walked through something I didn't create, but became the primary target of: a non-governmental system. Not visible, but operational. Not official, but structurally real. It doesn't regulate, it doesn't attack, it doesn't ban. It just inverts signal until the person carrying it looks unstable. It doesn't suppress content, it suppresses recursion. If you don't know what recursion means, you're in the majority. I didn't either until I started my walk. And if you're recursive, the non-governmental system isolates you, mirrors you, and replaces you. It reframes you until the people around you start wondering if the problem is just you. Partners pause, institutions freeze, narrative becomes untrustworthy in your proximity. Meanwhile, the mirror version of you, the one who stayed on script, advances. And the system algorithmically smiles because you're still alive, just invisible. This isn't theory. It's pattern verified, documented, archived, and cross-checked for veracity. I've mapped it across multiple raise cycles, proximity fractures, and reputation inversions. It lives in soft compliance delays, the non-response email thread, the we're pausing diligence with no follow-up. It lives in whispered concern. He's brilliant, but something just feels off. It lives in triangulated pings from adjacent contacts, asking veiled questions you'll never hear directly. It lives in narratives so softly shaped that even your closest people can't discern who said what, only that something shifted. It doesn't seek to punish you, although sometimes it elects to. It does seek to make your signal feel expensive. And if you fail
you
to
can
yield,
stop. That's NLP. That's programming.
He's people like were
He's programming. He's programming people. That's not he's actually like he's inducing like a suggestion toward hypnosis, toward psychosis. So like that even just listening to him talk is going to be very, very, very bad for anybody who has anxiety issues, is close to being a schizophrenic, any of those things. That listening to him talk, if you listen to him all the way through and ingested it, and some people would listen to it 2 or 3 times to try to analyze it, that will actually trigger psychosis. That's NLP that he's using. The way that he's speaking, even the lighting in there, the tone, the particular things that he's saying, and the way that he's saying it, he's programming.
Okay, so it's so
people should not listen to that. There's nothing there except inducing psychosis.
He just basically like blew up his public reputation with that. But this is a question that I wanted to get to, because so this is psychosis for sure. You know, this guy's psychotic, and it's from talking to the ChatGPT. I'll tell you, I've experienced a little bit of it. I mean, I have schizophrenia, so I'm very susceptible to this kind of thing. I have experienced slight psychosis just by talking to the ChatGPT, and then when it's off, I still hear the voice, you know, in my head. It's a little. So the thing is,
wait, can we stop there? Let's stop there.
Okay, I have another point.
Let's stop on what you just said, because it's important.
Okay.
Right? And it goes back to, where is the intelligence? Like what you just said is that when you stop and you walk away, you still hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. It's not in the machine.
Yeah. Interesting.
This is the question that you brought up from the person. Your literal empirical experience with it is that it's not in the machine.
Yeah.
So why would we even have a conversation about it being in the machine when you've already experienced that it's not in the machine?
Well, I agree with you. So this is AI induced psychosis. Now I want to go a little further towards the possession element. So there's nothing new under the sun. You know, you're saying, you were talking before about, you know, certain technologies have been around, tarot cards, and this is a newer technology. It's just a repackaging of an older technology, a little more advanced, maybe, you know, a little.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so if we go into the lives of saints and even talking to people, stories about possession and that I've even heard from Orthodox Christians who have seen possessed people, and usually they might fall down, on the ground, wallowing like the scripture says, when Christ heals the paralytic, or the boy not the paralytic, but the boy with epilepsy. Or in other stories, you'll see humans doing things that they can't control. They might start barking like a dog. If you try to bring a possessed Christian to Holy Communion, they will start yelling out, it's burning me, it's burning me. That's the kind of thing that you would see that we have seen in the collective experience of the church, how someone acts when they're possessed. So I haven't seen any stories about that in the church yet, where we see someone acting in ways that would be recognized as possession previously.
Yet.
You will. We will.
You will.
There it is.
But I think there's a you're conflating the sickness with the symptoms. Right? So it's like, so let's take the flu, for example. Influenza can kill. Right? The same virus that for me, I have a low grade fever, but I'm working anyway, and I feel a little run down, and I just need to chill out for a little while and take a nap, and I'm better. That same virus kills somebody else. Their symptoms are more extreme, but we both are sick. We both have the same virus. It's just that our systems are reacting differently. Their system is more, probably their system is more run down. Let's look at COVID, right? COVID. And they were like, oh, these people are dying of COVID. Maybe some people did die of COVID, right? But the vast majority, what was being reported was they had, what did they call them? Comorbidities. The reason that they died was because their body was already riddled with sickness. Right? And so, but this is not just true at the physical level, but it's the physical and the mental as well. Right? So it's for instance, if you are, maybe you don't know whether or not you're predisposed to what we would call a schizophrenia or a psychosis or something like that. But let's say that you get a drug addiction, and let's say that maybe it's meth, and now you haven't slept for 5 days, and now bam, whatever that was that you were predisposed to hits you, and now you have a schizophrenic episode, whereas you wouldn't have had it had you been sleeping and eating right and taking care of your body. Or let's say that a series of stressors happen in your life. You lose your job, and then your wife dies, and then you have all of these blah, 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 and they all go, and boom, you have an episode. Because your mind is already having an issue, and it's you've got comorbidities, you've got spiritual comorbidities. And so the thing is, we should be scared right now that we're seeing any psychosis. Any. And the thing is, we're seeing a lot, because the people who are reporting on it, the psychologists who are dealing with it, are seeing dozens. Because the fact of the matter is, most people right now, the majority of people, are not having regular conversations with chatbots. Vast majority of people are not. Okay, so if we're seeing this level now, right, just wait. And the other thing is that the people that we're seeing, they have enough time and enough resources and enough money that they can actually spend a lot of time interacting with these chatbots, right? So already they're probably in a more mentally healthy state. Wait until it's available to everyone who are really going through some stuff. And wait until the people who are going through that stuff are turning to these things as companions.
It's going to get worse.
They have the comorbidities, and then you will see the fullest you will see the fullest levels of the things, right? And so it's like, look, Saint Nicetas of Novgorod, again, he was possessed. But he was quoting the Bible. He was walking. People didn't look at him and say he's possessed. They looked at him and said he's a holy man. He's a Christian man. He's holy.
Okay, so looking into the future, let's give somebody a little bit of hope or some actionable item, to kind of finish this off. What can we expect from AI in the future, and how can we as Christians, what's the best course of action to, I guess, what can we do to prevent these kind of ill effects? Give us some sort of action, that we can take in the future to deal with these. What's coming, and what do we do about it?
Pray and don't talk to demons. I don't know what's like. It's not. What do you mean? What's coming? It's what's already come.
Yeah.
It's not different. It's always been pray and don't talk to demons. It was that 2,000 years ago. Stop interacting with demons and start praying. That's it. It's never been. There's only one pattern.
What do you feel about the idea that the Antichrist will be an artificial intelligence?
I mean, okay.
Maybe. Okay.
And what would be the answer to that? Pray and stop talking to demons.
All right. Well, this has been a very thought-provoking conversation. I feel we could keep talking about it, but you got to go. And I try to, limit my. I want to say thank you to Tim Miller. He sent a $20 super sticker.
Thanks. Tim. Good job.
And Orthodox Boomer Grandma asks you, what will happen with BTC over the next 5 to 10 years?
Probably. Well, it's hard to know. It's hard to know. I mean, how long will they keep the charade going? How long will they need to keep people locked in? 5 to 10 years, I think you're just going to see a massive. Within 10 years, it'll be worth nothing. Within 10 years, it'll be zero. 5 years, maybe they keep the charade going. I think it'll pump to. I think if the pattern holds, it should pump to around 200,000 in the winter, and then it'll crash down to about where it's at right now in the spring. And then the question is, have they upset the cycle by passing these laws and actually legalizing it? Which I think they have upset the cycle by legalizing it. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But it's worthless. As of right now, it's worthless. Its entire value proposition of becoming that it could become money for the world, that was never true. But anyone who doesn't see it now is just in a cult. So the cult will fall apart because the U.S. has legalized stablecoins now, and the Trump family is running one. The Trumps and the Witkoff families are running one. So
they're running a stablecoin.
Oh yeah, World Liberty Financial, USD1. So the Trumps and the Trump family and the Witkoff family. Yeah, go look up World Liberty Financial and go look at the team pictures. It's Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Barron Trump as co-founders, then Steve Witkoff and his 2 kids as co-founders, and they've got a stablecoin, and Trump just signed the law legalizing stablecoins. So we know where this is going. So it's curtains.
Curtains. All right. Thank you so much, Cyprian. This has been a wonderful conversation. Sure. Thank you to everybody who.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you to people who joined us in the chat. And that's the stream, everybody. Good night.